Hi there, and welcome back to Starts at 8. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about a program that was new to me, anyways, from Fascinating Education. They offer online homeschool high school science courses. Specifically, I'm going to be talking about biology today, as that's what we were using in our homeschool. So let's get started. First of all, Fascinating Biology, which is the course that we were just using in our homeschool, covers the basic principles of biology, including the components of life: cell membranes, taking in nutrients, creating chemical energy, growing and repairing, reproducing, maintaining a stable internal environment, and adapting to a changing external environment. There's 18 lessons in the course, and as you can see on the screen, the lessons are each broken down. They have the video lesson. There's also a script of that video lesson, which I'll talk about a little bit later, a review section, and then a test. I want to talk a little bit about the features of the Fascinating Education, at least specifically biology course. The very first lesson, it starts out talking about where their stance is on secular or religious. The first thing that people talk about usually when they're looking for a homeschool science curriculum is it creation based? Is it evolution based? And so he talks a little bit about that in the very beginning of the first lesson, saying, "I do not see it as my role with these curricula to argue in favor of one or the other. My role is to describe the forces in the universe and how they play out in our everyday lives without addressing how those forces came into being." The next thing I want to talk about is the visual nature of these Fascinating Education courses. The premise behind them was to use the right hemisphere of your brain, which is very visual. So it uses simple, colorful illustrations, and then with the professor talking in the background, just like I am now. Almost every concept has some sort of photo or diagram to accompany it. It's really, really great for visual learners who really need to see what they're trying to learn. So they get to see it, they get to hear it all at the same time. And there's also corresponding printouts that you can print out for not only for the video lessons, but for the reviews and for the tests as well. So that's what I wanted to talk about a little bit, the lesson scripts. As you can see here on the screen, on the left-hand side, that's a section of one of the lesson scripts. So this was lesson 6, Take in Energy Part 2. And what I find so cool about these is that not only are they a word-for-word script from the lesson, but they also include all of the photos and diagrams. And I find that it's really helpful to print them out, and then my kids can take notes on them if there's something else that they're thinking about or something else that is added that they can think of, or maybe they've done a little research, just a way for them to they have a space that they can write it right there while they're watching the lesson, and they have the corresponding pages right there in front of them. Then each lesson has a whole review section and then a test. And the review section goes through questions. And along with those questions, then you can get the answer in another talking photo format, and it'll go through the answer with you. So it's another way to reinforce with the student the concepts that they just learned in the lesson in the review. And then they can go ahead and take the tests, and you can print the tests out ahead of time if you want, so they can take them on paper, or they can do them right on the screen. And as you can see here, there's a result of one of our tests that was done, and you have an option to review the quiz, and that will take you through each question and show you what you answered and what the correct answer was. You can print the results for your records, and there's also a place for the student to retry the quiz so they can go back through and do it again once they've gone over the concepts that they didn't get correct the first time. So if you think that this might be something that might really be a great fit for your homeschool, or maybe you're not sure, you're like, I don't really, pictures, don't necessarily do it justice, you can go over to Fascinating Education's website. And I will link to both my full review and Fascinating Education's website, where you can find this information and you can try any of the 4 classes that you see on the screen. So you can try chemistry, you can try biology, you can try physics, or you can try medicine, or you can try them all if you want to take a look at what's contained in each one. So if you have a visual learner, if you're looking for an online course for high school science that is a little more straightforward and really, teaches and talks to the student, instead of using, overwhelming with vocabulary and terms, this is a much more gentle approach to learning the science, and it really hits on all the key important concepts in our instance in the biology, so that my daughter could learn the really really big, the bigger concepts, and he breaks it down so that they can learn it in a way that is natural and in more of a building block form and in a visual way. So if you want to try it out, go ahead and head over to Fascinating Education. You can also head over to startsatate.com and check out my review. And like I said, I'll link to those in the comments.